You killed Mango? Not even a little bit. I don't know if you're memeing or genuine. I feel zero guilt. I don't feel guilty at all. I think this is his own actions because he's his own man. He's an adult man. And me banning him like is the only thing that I did in response because I think it was the correct thing to do. I've talked to Mango in the past. Like I've asked him probably 4 times, 5 times point blank, are you an alcoholic? And every time he's like, no, I'm not. And also, I think I specifically said like I'm not calling for him to be dropped or banned from melee tournaments.
Ludwig, this is very worrying. Good morning, everyone. I want to talk about the Mango and Ludwig story one more time. Because since my last video, about 2 days ago, I believe, I've seen some more stuff that makes this very worrying. Now, in my last video, right, I was running some defense, a tiny bit, for Ludwig, because I felt very bad for him. Like, if you saw posts on LSF, they were being like, oh my god, we should blame Ludwig for the whole Mango thing. It was his fault. And I was like, maybe not, I don't believe so. Because who enough would expect Mango getting that drunk and doing the humping shit? But now looking back on it, you know, I think somebody you know who's giving him that much alcohol and encouraging it, yeah, he should take some accountability for that. But since then, you know, since that last video, I've seen some more videos from him, some more clips, and some more tweets from other people that made me realize, yeah, this looks very bad on him. For once, you know, I want to put like one video I saw recently from about 7 days ago where he barely said anything at all. Like he barely took accountability for this. And just like watch this clip real quick with me, and you see like how bizarre it is, really, in my opinion. For one, so like when some chatter on the left, you know, says like oh, you should say sorry, whatever. He's like, you know, oh, I feel no guilt at all for this. Like it's so bizarre.
You killed Mango? Not even a little bit. I don't know if you're memeing or genuine. I feel zero guilt. I don't feel guilty at all. I think this is his own actions because he's his own man. He's an adult man. And me banning him like is the only thing that I did in response. Cause
okay, even in my own video, you know, like I was making fun of Mango, but I was never being like, you know, oh, he's a grown-ass man. Those were his actions. Even then, I feel like I was being, you know, somewhat fair. I believe, you know, I can't remember what I said in that video, but like even then, I wouldn't say entirely like, yeah, it's his own fault. Because bear in mind, he was insanely drunk. Like even Ludwig knew how drunk he was when he was, you know, he was cheering on the breathalyzer and how high of a point he got to. Like even, you know, I wouldn't blame entirely because when you're that drunk, you're not really, you know, you're yourself, right? Even like the nicest person will do some weird shit when they're drunk, I feel like. But even then, that point, like he said before, that he feels no guilt. That's wild. Like it's your event, and you don't have like any accountability. Like, if you don't say sorry, you know, for making Mango that drunk, fine, whatever. But at the bare minimum, you know, say sorry to Cena and Emily and all those female streamers that were harassed by Mango, at least. But even then, he can't. So fine, whatever. But past that, right? It's so funny, right? 'Cause, you know, I was looking more into the video, and I realized, or you know, I found out that Ludwig's dad. It's sort of sad. Ludwig's dad died of alcoholism when he was 10 years old. But like, the way he brings this up, right, it's so bizarre. Because any person, you know, who's affected by that at an early age, you know, I feel like they would have like some, it would have like a lasting effect on them about the, you know, the power of alcohol, or sorry, the downsides of alcohol. But even on the situation, it's barely affecting him. I feel like it's so bizarre.
But my dad had a serious problem with alcohol, and his rock bottom was death, you know, candidly. That's what the rock bottom for him was, is he never got the better of it. It got the better of him. And his life was like, he was 40s. He died at 44 years old, 43 years old, excuse me. Young. Right, I'm very close, you know, relatively
Hope
to the
you
age
don't feel too bad.
that
it will
he
get
died
better
at.
less than 3.
I'm sorry, in my opinion, right? If your own family member, someone you knew, like your own father, died of something like that, I feel like you should be fully aware of the dangers, you know, of being that drunk. Like in my last video, right, I was being charitable to him because I was like, you know, oh, most people like him. I have a friend like Mango, where they're clearly an alcoholic, but didn't really care that much because, you know, I mean, as long as it's not that bad, don't really mind. But the fact, like, even with the story in mind, it's so bizarre, like how he barely feels anything for Mango. Like he banned him, that's it, no accountability. You know, fuck the control he had as the event hoster, having all the alcohol and barely any security. You know, he feels nothing at all. That's wild in my mind. Now I've only got three other tweets to pull up. One is from one person who I believe is a streamer. That I think they're a figure in the Smash community, but they're not very big. But like this tweet in particular, it opened my eye, to how badly this was run, and how at bare minimum Ludwig should take some accountability. And it is from Krebs, or at Krebs T Legend, and he said, I haven't spoken on it fully yet, but Ludwig failed Mango as a friend, enabling and cheering on his level of drinking and not looking after him / not separating him from others is incredibly irresponsible. If you're hosting an event like this, you need security, to be honest. And I saw that as well before. Like I saw one employee pull away Mango, that's all they did. If any, if you need people there to be sober, to monitor drunk people, to make sure they're not doing insane shit. Like, bro, it got to a point, right, where Mango was so drunk that he had his pants off and he was just wearing underwear. How is that possible? Like, how do you not have people there sober, like security, to take care of that? Like, they weren't doing anything at all. That's insane. But after that, they said below that, of course, Mango messed up and has to face the consequences of his actions, and the woman involved should not have been subject to that. Here's Mango's wife calling Ludwig out. Ludwig should have hired security for this event, and if he did, they should have been more present. I agree. Once again, if you don't have security there, like that opens like a huge door to anything to happen like that fucking clip where he was humping women. And I agree with that. Again, like how do you have an event like that where you have so much alcohol, but at the same time you have no security? Like, you're inviting something bad to happen, like with Mango. And even if you don't feel bad for Mango and you want to ditch him as a friend, fine, whatever. But if you're not saying sorry to Sinner or Emily or the female streamers who were there, that's wild. Because they were affected the most. What happened to them, was Mango's action, but it was fueled by you giving all the alcohol. But even then, you don't apologize for that, or you feel no guilt, like you said. That's insane. Holy fuck. And then, for context, right, I think Mango's wife was very angry at Ludwig. I mean, clearly she was, right? Because she was saying, fuck you, all that shit. And to be fair, I think this is a valid response, being you fed him all the alcohol and you feel nothing after it. She has a very valid response, in my opinion. I'm sure this screenshot is out of context, but any moral person wouldn't feel this way after some sort. My message to Ludwig is it's naturally to do good by a friend, charity stream for rehab, private donation, etc. Real friends are there for you when you're down. I agree with that as well. I think he did the right action by banning him, to send the message that this is not acceptable. But I agree with that as well. If you cause your friend, to do this by giving him so much alcohol, you should at least stick by him when he's going down. Bear in mind, right? I read Mango's tweet after, in my last video about this, and yeah, he actually sounded like he actually felt awful for this. He made a good response, in my opinion. But even then, Ludwig will ditch him after because it looks very bad for his image. That is very scummy, in my opinion. Holy shit. Last one. Any good friend who would have stopped Mango before the first incident. Reasons for why it happened are not excuses, but what Mango did is inexcusable. It's important to understand the reasons are causes, though, so we can prevent and be better in our own circles. Take care of your people. I mean, I agree with that. That's a very good point. This was the first tweet I read that opened my mind to being wow, he's right. What Ludwig did was scummy, and now in hindsight, is very pathetic, very wormish, very snakish, in my opinion. And the last thing I read, was from Carvos, because even people now in the comedy community, they're calling it out, and he just said, Ludwig takes no accountability, yet was cheering on Mango and wanted to get more drunk. Doesn't excuse Mango at all, but Ludwig was acting the same in the aftermath, yet he actively created and encouraged dangerous levels of drinking. And overall, yeah, I agree with that, again. So all I can say now is I want to take back my opinion in my first video about Ludwig, because now seeing more stuff from him and seeing better points made by smarter people, yeah, this situation and the way he handled it was very scummy. He could have done it way better, in my opinion. That's really it.
¿Te gusta ver vídeos divertidos de Azul?